Hi learners, in this tutorial I'm going to be talking about Adobe Illustrator and the canvas settings and how the layers work and how you can work with this software. So let's get started. Now if you're opening Illustrator for the first time, your interface will kind of look like this. I'm currently using 2020 version. If you have installed the previous version, for example 2017 or 18 or 19 or CC, the interface may look a little different, but it's almost same. So let's get started. It's kind of similar to Photoshop. First of all, you need to select what you're going to design on Illustrator. So if it's a postcard, you're going to choose this canvas. If it's a document type design, you can choose A4 size, or if you need a large canvas, you can select Web Large 1920 1080. Most probably this is the default one, and this is the one that we have always. So let's create something. Go to Create New, and your document will open. This is your new document. I'm sure that you're pretty familiar with the settings because the same thing we have in Photoshop. We have width and height, pixels, orientation, vertical and horizontal. We have artboards, and it's just as same as Photoshop. So by default we have a 1920 1080 pixel, which is a web large canvas. Press create. So this is your canvas. Since I haven't given any name over here, so it's entitled 1. Now the interface and the functions are mostly similar to Photoshop. So this is our layer. On the layers panel you can see. Now here's an amazing advantage in Illustrator, that we don't have to create new layers in order to separate elements. In Photoshop, every time we have to create new layer in order to separate our designs. But in Illustrator, even though you're working on the same canvas, it will automatically get separated even though you're not creating new layers. For example, if I take this rectangle tool and create a rectangle over here, and again I'm creating another rectangle, and again probably. I've created 4 rectangles in one layer, but still I can adjust them the way I want. If you select all of them, this will show you the transparency and the intersection portion of each shape. So that's a plus. Now if you click on this main layer, you will be able to see 4 sub-layers, each layer for each box. As you can see, I didn't create any layer from here. The sub-layers have been created automatically once we place the shape. So this is the reason why every single shape is separated, and you can modify them however you want. I can place it to here or here. Nothing is merged, so every time if you want to make some changes, even after you complete your project, you can make changes in that. But in Photoshop, we don't have this advantage. You have to create a lot of layers there to separate each object or to separate each design. And once we merge all of them together in Photoshop, there is no way you can make changes in that. So I think it's much accessible rather than in Photoshop. Illustrator will also show you the center point of each shape. This is the feature that Photoshop doesn't have, so you can easily balance them and arrange them in a perfect order. Now some features are similar. The blue dot will determine which particular shape is selected. If you want the position of this rectangle to be fixed, you can lock it from here. All you have to do is just click on this rectangular portion. This is a small area on the right hand side of the eye. You just have to click on it and this will be locked. So this particular layer is locked. Now this won't be selected no matter how much you try, like it's not selected. It's not selected. Now the other shapes will be selected except this one because this is locked. So let's see. Look at them. These 3 are selected except this one. So to unlock this layer, you can simply click on that and it will be unlocked. In general, there is no need to create new layers on Illustrator, but if you necessarily need to create new layer, the colors will be different. For example, you can create the new layer from here, and this is gonna be in red. And again, if you create some designs or shapes over here, this red layer will be having a lot of sub layers under this. Now here's an interesting thing, that every single layer color is different in Illustrator and it's never going to repeat again. So the first layer that we have is in blue, the second layer we created is red, the third layer is probably going to be green. And if you just continue creating new layers, every time the color will be different. These different type of colors helps Illustrator to separate different layers. On the left hand side corner we have specific tools. Some of them are similar to Photoshop, some of them are not. Pen tool is similar to Photoshop, but the curvature tool is different. I'll show you the function of it in the Illustrator tutorials. Also we have shape tools which are similar, type tool is similar. Brush tool is completely different than Photoshop, so it works in a different way. The brush tool will not help you to paint something, the function is different. Now to bring a picture or image on Photoshop, we generally go to File and then Open, and we select a picture from desktop and that opens in our canvas. But in Illustrator, it's different. We have to go to File and we'll not go to Open because this works in a different way. This time we have to click on Place. And the next thing is same, you can choose any picture from here and click on place. Now you will be able to see a thumbnail like this. Now it's up to you that where you want to place this image. You can place on the top or bottom or in the middle, it doesn't matter. You can however modify this. You just have to click on this and this will get placed. Now you can just adjust the edges. You can make it smaller or bigger. This is how it works. Now if you notice, this particular picture comes under the sub layer of the first layer. As I deleted all the rectangles, so those are no more in the layer 1. So this particular picture comes under the sub layer of layer 1. The reason to work on Illustrator is this is a vector-based software, and no matter how much you stretch the shapes, the illustrations, or your design, it won't be pixelated. The sizes will be same and it won't make any difference. That's the reason why logos are created on Illustrator. Also, Illustrator gives more control and accessibility over shapes since logos are all about shapes, so that's also the reason why Illustrator is the best choice for logo designers. And this software is specifically created for logo and illustration design. So I hope you got the decent idea about the layer function and the interface settings and everything. This is an introductory video for newbies who doesn't know how to work with Illustrator and who haven't even opened this software for the first time. Next we have a PDF for Illustrator shortcuts. Have a look at them and continue with Illustrator tutorials. Hi learners, so this is our first tutorial on Illustrator. This is an absolute beginner's guide on how to use Illustrator and where to start from and what we actually can do with this software. So since we have discussed it before that Illustrator is more about working with shapes. So if I compare Photoshop with Illustrator, Photoshop is more about high quality editing, effects, and working with a lot of graphics. And in case of Illustrator, just like its name, we can create beautiful illustrations, professional logos which are geometrically balanced and symmetrically perfect, and all the vector-based designs. So basically when you're working on Illustrator, everything you gotta work with is shapes. So let's get started. So we have talked about the interface of the software. We gotta know about the layers and how it works. So let's come to the left-hand side corner and see what are the function of these tools. Since I'm talking about shapes all along, so let's see how we can create shapes and how we can modify that. Here we have a rectangle tool. If you right click on that, you will get to see we have ellipse tool, polygon tool, star tool, and line segment tool. So let's take this ellipse tool and create a circle. If I hold shift, we will get a perfect circle. And if I leave the shift button, it will be modified like this. You can however modify this. I'm keeping a shape like this. And let's see what else we can do. If you want to copy this shape, you need to go to edit and then copy and then go to edit again and then paste it. You'll get exact copy here. Now if I zoom in and see the alignment, it might be wrong, but in Illustrator we have a facility like it gives you intersection points. So basically there's an advantage. Illustrator helps you to understand that whether that's symmetrical or not, whether that's balanced or not. So you will get a proper message that whether it's intersected or not. If you don't want to make it aligned, you want to place it randomly, you can do it. But in case if you want perfect balance and symmetry, Illustrator will guide you to balance the shapes. There is also an advantage on Illustrator. When you select all the shapes, no matter how many shapes you can have 1,000 shapes, but it will always show you the intersection portions. So let's say, for example, I have 15 circles over here. It will show you every single intersection part that will help you to create another shape. If I just notice this particular thing, whatever we have created so far, I can see a lot of shapes here. We have 2 circles. We have an intersection portion which also creates a shape. We have other shapes too. For example, like this is also a shape. So how many shapes we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But these are not defined, so I'm not like counting that. So basically we have 3 shapes. But identifying shapes are really important, so I just counted all together. Now let's see what else feature we have. If I select this circle, you will get 4 main anchor points and 1 anchor point on the outside. If I zoom in, now if you keep your cursor a little closer to this point, you'll be able to see an icon like this. This is for rotation. You can rotate this circle like this. You can rotate it however you want. You have to select it and you can easily rotate it. We also have a separate tool for rotation over here. I hope you can see this circular arrow. It says the rotate tool. You can also do it by using this tool, but this is another way to do this. Now if I select this circle again and hold this point, and if you drag it, it will make a half circle like this. It will also give you every single information like the angle settings, the end line and the pi angle and everything you need. So if you want to make it 90 degree, you can do it. For 180 degree, you can do it. And if you leave this button, it will create automatically a shape. So this is how you can create a segment of circle. Whatever shape you want to do it with the circle, you have that full access over here. So close it and let's see what else we can do. So the next important thing we have, how to fill a shape with color. So for that, you need to come to the tool section again, and you'll get to see these 2 boxes. It may look a little similar to Photoshop, but we have a little twist here. The front square is for fill color, and the background square is not for background color. It's for stroke color. On Illustrator, you cannot change the background from here. For that, you need to go to the properties and adjust the settings. So to fill a shape with color, first you need to select that with Move tool, and then double click on this fill box, and then you can choose any color you want. For example, if I choose this particular shade and press OK, this shape would be filled with that color. Now, if I want this shape to be filled with the same color, I won't be able to do that in the same way. Why? Because once I select this color, the color will be automatically changed to white because this particular shape is filled with white color. Now if you tell me again I have to go to the fill section and I have to search for blue color over here, I might not be able to get the exact shade because I forgot the position where exactly I placed it. So it's impossible to find out the exact shade what we had before. So in that case, I'm not able to find the exact shade from here. So close it and find this tool here. This is the same tool we had in Photoshop. This is called the eyedropper tool. You just simply have to click this and you have to click on the specific color you want. I need this color on this shape, so I'm gonna click on here and I got the exact same shade. It won't be possible from here until or unless you remember the color code. So that's impossible, so it's better to use the eyedropper tool. Now if you want to make some changes on overall shapes, you can simply select all of them and you can modify that accordingly. So next we have this pen tool. This is the 3rd tool we have on Illustrator. So let's click on this and let's see how it works. The way pen tool works is similar to Photoshop, but what it does is makes a difference. First, you can click and create an anchor point, and then you can make any shape you want. So you can click and drag and make something like that. And in that case, in every step, your shape will be filled with the color you have chosen in the fill box. So if I want to make a shape like this, it will keep filling automatically, so you don't need to fill it again. So in this case, to fill a shape with color which is created by pen tool, you don't need to select or deselect or anything like Photoshop. It will automatically get filled in Illustrator. So it's a plus. So I randomly created a shape that makes a face. So this is how it works. So now if you notice, we have a black stroke over here. If I want to remove it, simply select this first and then go to the stroke section and make it none. So it will be removed automatically. Look, we don't have a stroke anymore. So it's kind of work like this. Now we have this tool called Type tool. It's similar to Photoshop and it's nothing fancy here. If you just click on it, you can just, create some text over here. So you can write something if you want, and this is how it goes. So now I'm going to increase the size to see what I wrote. If I want to change the color of it, I can go to here and change the color to probably light blue. So yeah, this is how it works. This particular title is very simple and easy to work with, but it has a lot of variations which are really interesting. Right click on this and you will be able to see type on a path tool. This is also a type tool, but it works in a different way. This tool will not work in a blank area. You need a path to use it. I have circles and shapes over here. All of them are considered to be a path, except this text. So I can use it over here. Let's see. So this is the fancy thing we did. It already wrapped the entire path with text. So this is called type on a path tool. So we have already created something really fancy, and these are the basic tools you need to know in the beginning. Uh, However, we have a lot of tools over here. We have a width tool, we have a curvature tool, and a lot more. But the tools that I've showed you in this tutorial are enough for beginners. The rest of the tool comes next. Once you get habituated using Illustrator, you can eventually learn a lot about the other tools. So I hope that you got a decent idea of how to use Illustrator. You can use some of the tools that I've shown you and create some good graphics. I would love to see your designs. So just try this and I hope you'll enjoy it. Alright, so in this video, you're going to learn the logo designing process, which is one of the most important lesson in graphic design course. Before I get started, you need to know a few things regarding logo design. Logo is the first thing that a business requires. So logos are highly in demand. That's the reason why business is kind of impossible without designers. So good news for you and me that we designers will be always in demand. And according to survey, in the coming years, graphic design will be one of the most demanding career options. So let's get into this. In this video, I'm going to be showing you one of the most recognized and famous logo named Adidas, how to create that on Illustrator. So we know that the Adidas logo kind of looks like a flower and it has three petals in it. So let's start from the ellipse tool. Take the ellipse tool from here and draw a circle. Press shift to make a perfect circle. And then make a copy of this and create a shape of a petal for intersection. Once you're done with this, select both of the circles and go to Windows and then select Pathfinder. So we're going to click this intersection button because we don't need these circles. We need the intersection part, which actually gives us a shape of a petal. We only need this particular shape. So let's delete these two. So we have selected these two circles and click on this intersection button. So we got a nice and clean shape over here. Now I would like to give it a color. Give it black. Now copy this and place it over here. Now we have to rotate this a little bit. Make sure the alignment is right. You can zoom in if you want. Always check the shape balance whether it's right or not. It should be geometrically perfect. Now rotate this shape a little bit, and once you're satisfied with the position, click on this and make a copy of this again. And this time place it on the left. Right click on this and press transform and then click on reflect. Then you will get to see a box like this. It's important to manage the settings of this box. Make sure the axis is vertical and the angle is 90°. So press OK. Now this particular shape is exactly the reflection of this shape. Place it according to your needs. Now select all of them and I want to stretch it a little bit. Now we will add the lines. Take the rectangular tool from here and create lines like this. Now you can change the color of the line from here. Press OK. Now go to the selection tool and copy this 2 times. Now select all of them and remove all of the strokes if you had so. Now the alignment of these lines are wrong, so we need to fix that. Zoom in and place it accordingly. So now if you feel like moving the speedle a little bit more, you can always do it. You have that access. So I'm going to move it a little bit more. And this too. This is how you can create it. Now the actual Adidas logo doesn't exactly look like this. It has a lot of modifications over here. We are not copying that logo. We are understanding how to create a logo. So it's important to note the techniques that I'm using rather than copying a logo, because the logo that is already existed is of no use for a designer right now. So something is missing here. We're going to add some text. So come to the left and take this type tool, and we're going to write Adidas, but first we need to change the color. Otherwise it won't be visible. The background is white. So let's write it. Okay, it's too small. Let's make it bigger. I want to change the font, so go to the properties, which is right beside the layer section, and you'll be able to see the character section over here. You can change it from here. I would like to choose Century Gothic. Come back to layer and decrease the size if you need so. Place it in the right place. Then select all of them and place it in the middle. And you can increase the size. Alright, so remember one thing, we haven't deleted these three lines over here. If you change the background color, these three lines will be visible. So we have to remove them. Select all of them and select Shape Builder tool and simply delete these three and these three. Alright, so we got a perfect logo here. If you want to change the color of this logo, you can. I'm changing from here. Let's give a soft color. I'm giving it green. Then fill these three lines as white. Press OK. And we're done. So this is how you can create the Adidas logo. Now the logo creation process varies a lot. Every single logo has been created in a different technique. This is how we can create the Adidas logo. But if I talk about the other logos, for example, the Apple and Nike and other famous logos, Windows, McDonald's, Domino's, and so on, each of them has been created in a different technique. The more you explore, the more you will understand the software, the more you will able to create great logos. Now it's important to keep in mind when you're working with Illustrator, your logo needs to be geometrically perfect and symmetrical. If you're working in Canva, it doesn't really matter. But if you're working on AI software, that means Illustrator, you're kind of professional in this field. If you look at this particular logo, I could easily create this logo by using the pen tool, but I've used several techniques to create this logo to make it geometrically perfect, and there shouldn't be any symmetrical disorder. So I hope you got a decent idea about the logo design, and I'll see you in the next video. Hi learners, so in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you the illustration process in Illustrator. It's also one of the most important tutorials on Illustrator, just like logo design. So if you see, illustrations are everywhere. It can be used on website design, it can be used in social media posts, or it can be also used in vector graphics. And most importantly, 2D characters can be also designed in Illustrator by using this process. So you see, illustrations are required everywhere and it really has a demand in the market, and it's really one of the most important things to learn when you're actually working on Illustrator. So let's get started. I think I've already talked about this before, that when you're working on Illustrator, all you have to work with is shapes. So let's start finally. I'm going to create a standard illustration of an avocado. For that, you need to create a circle first. So let's come here and select this ellipse tool and create a circle. Hold shift and create a circle. Create a perfect circle, and then drag it to the bottom a little bit, and then select this direct selection tool and click on this anchor point. Once you click on the anchor points, you will see two components of that anchor point. So like, for example, this line and this line, these are two components of that particular anchor point. So click this anchor point and drag it to the top to build the shape of an avocado. So don't just drag it like too much. Drag it to some extent and make it like a standard avocado shape. And once you feel like it's all right, leave it. So once you're done with this, click on the selection tool and place it in the middle. And then I'll make a copy of this to make the outer peeling of the avocado. So go to edit, then copy, and again go to edit and paste it. And also place the copied shape to the same position and make it a little smaller, like this. And then select all of them and make it a little bigger so that we can work with this in ease. Next, we will create the seed that's going to be placed over here. So click on this circle again and make a perfect circle. Press shift and make a circle like this. Now we will color the entire illustration. Select this middle circle first and double click on this fill box. Now select the color of an avocado. And then we will color the outer peeling. Select the biggest circle and double click on this fill section again. And select the color from here. Okay. Now we will color the smallest circle, which is the seed of our avocado. So select this and double click on this fill section again. And choose the relevant color for this. So once you're done with this, select the entire thing and come here and select this border portion. See, here we have 3 boxes. You have to select none. So what's the difference we made? We removed all the 3 borders we had for these 3 circles. Now we have no borders. You can see if I zoom in, there is no borders. Now our basic illustration is done. So now if you want to give it a look like a cartoon, you can do it. Select this ellipse tool and make an eye. I'm gonna fill it with black color, so you can do that. And then you can just copy it. You will go to edit and copy and then we'll paste like that. I'm using keyboard shortcuts. We also have a lesson for keyboard shortcuts in Illustrator, and that's in the PDF. So if you want to use a keyboard shortcuts, you can read the PDF and you can also use keyboard shortcuts if you want to. I always use keyboard shortcuts because now I'm habituated using those softwares, but I would recommend you not to use keyboard shortcuts in the beginning, because if you know the techniques how to do it, even if you forget the keyboard shortcuts, you will be still able to do these designs. So I created 2 eyes, select both of them and place it here. I want to make it a little smaller. I'm going to zoom in. I'm creating like this. Now, if you want to add some more features in it, you can, however you want to illustrate it. I'm going to create some blushes, so take this ellipse tool here and create shapes like these. And I'm going to color it. Pink will be perfect. Place it here. Now I will use the pen tool for final highlights on this particular illustration. Let's follow. Zoom in. Just create one single stroke and leave it like there. You can create it anywhere. I find this place good enough for me, so I'm just creating here. Make similar shapes, but don't complete the shapes. Just make a stroke like that. And come to this selection tool and leave it like this. Then fill it with similar colors, but the lighter version of it, since we are making highlights. So take this eyedropper tool and select this particular color. and then come to this fill section and select the lighter version of the same color. For example, I find this light enough and press OK. So this is one highlight we have created. Second one I'll create over here. Same process. Just go to the pen tool and create a little highlight. And yeah, we are almost done. And I think I'm lacking somewhere. Create a smile with pen tool. Or you can use also the ellipse tool and make it a half and make it a mouth like that. I'm using pen tool here. And this time I don't want to fill it with anything. I would rather go for stroke. So I'm going to select the stroke color black and we'll fill it with nothing. So this time I'm going to choose none. So it filled with nothing. You can see that a simple stroke that's going to work. Now if you want to make the stroke wider, just select the stroke and go to properties and you can increase the stroke like this. It's fair enough. I think it's too much, so I'm going to redo it again. 7, 6, 5, 4, good enough. And come back to layer. And yeah, our illustration is almost ready. And you can add some text if you want to. I would increase the size so that you can see it. Place it properly. So if you have noticed, as I said earlier, everything that I did in this illustration is working with shapes. And specifically for this particular illustration, I only used ellipse tool. And I didn't have to use any other shapes because avocado doesn't have any sharp corners all around it. So I made it with circles only. So this is a standard illustration process on Illustrator. I would like to show you my personal work so you will understand that how illustration actually works and how easy or difficult this is. So this is the illustration that I'm talking about. It's not as easy as it looks like. For this particular illustration, I had to create more than 100 shapes and strokes. You can see some of them are grouped. So if you open this, you will be able to see grouped shapes. I have more than 100 shapes here. This is the next level of illustration. Once you get habituated using this software, you can also create these kind of illustrations. If I just select all of them, you'll be able to see how many shapes are there. Like as you can see, it looks like an operation, but yeah, this is the process because every single thing is separately designed. That's why it's much complicated. So this is the entire thing. Try with simple illustrations like these. Even I think creating this avocado won't be so easy for beginners. So at the super beginning, first you need to understand how to create shapes, and after that you can just try simple illustrations like that. I think creating an apple would be much easier than avocado. So you can do that. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, so this is the last tutorial we have on Illustrator, but it's really interesting. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to work with typography and create tube text. Now, before I start, it's important to know what is tube text. So when I'm saying tube and text, it's definitely something working with the text, and tube is an effect that we're going to create, we're going to design and put that on our text. Now, it's not only about typography. Once you learn how to create the tube effect, you can apply it to anywhere. So let's get started. In this tutorial, it's really important to follow every single step that I'm taking, so follow that very carefully. The first, I'm going to take this pen tool and I'm going to draw something abstract or like straw kind of thing. Press on this anchor point and create something of your choice. So I guess this is enough. Close this anchor point and come to the selection tool. Press this and it will be automatically selected like this. After that's selected, and place it in the middle, or probably everywhere you want. Now come to the toolbar and select ellipse tool. Right click on the rectangular tool and you'll be able to see here is our ellipse tool. Create a small ellipse, like it's gonna be fine I guess. And we're gonna fill this ellipse with gradient. Now come to the bottom section of the toolbar and you'll be able to see these three little squares over here. You have to press the middle one because this is for gradient, and you'll be able to see something like this. Now we will create the gradient. It's kind of similar to Photoshop. Now click on this. Now choose any color of your choice. I'm choosing red here. This is going to be really highlighted. And come to the opposite side and also make it red. Keep that in mind that it's important to put same color in both sides. Now once we're done with this, create another circle over here. And we're going to make the middle one white. Now why we did this? Because we're going to make a tube and we want this tube to look like kind of 3D. That's why we need these kind of effect where the white color will be working as the light or the highlight of that particular tube. So you can adjust the red color from here if you need a little more red. I'm adjusting like this. Okay, so you can put any color of your choice, but make sure that the middle one is white and these two poles are in same color. Alright, so now once we are done creating the gradient, close this. Now we will fill our ellipse with this gradient color. Now simply click on this and our ellipse will be filled with this color. Now we need to make a copy of this ellipse. Go to edit and then copy and go to edit and then paste it. Now place it somewhere around here, just making a line. It needs to be placed in the two poles of your canvas. Now select both of your ellipse like this and go to object and then blend and go to blend options. You'll be able to see something like this. Change the spacing from smooth color to specified steps and make it 500 and press OK. Again, go to object and then blend and then press make. You'll be able to see something like this. Next step, select all of them, our tube and the spiral we have created. Go to object again and then blend and click replace spine. Now this is how the tube text is going to look like. I'm showing you just the example. We are actually going to work with texts, alright? Now I'm keeping this aside and make it a little bit small because we're going to work with text now. We know the process already, so we're going to work with text now. We need those two circles again, so let's make it again. One here and one on the other end, and select both of them. Go to object, blend, make. Why? Because we have already set the blending options from there, like we have selected the specified steps and we have given a number of 500, so we didn't need to recreate that again, alright? And now I'm going to write my name here and we'll be applied this tube text effect on that text. Take this brush tool from here and make this stroke black. Okay, once you're done with this, just test that how it goes and then you can press Ctrl Z to undo this. Now I'm going to write my name over here. Okay, now I'm going to apply this tube text effect on this text. Select both of them and go to object, blend and replace spine. So I guess it's not too difficult to understand, but if you find difficulties to do the entire process, you can always get back to us and we'll definitely help you out how to do that. So yeah, try this out and let me know your progress.